Hello, I'm going to be talking about childlessness, or as some people prefer to put it, being child-free. And therein lies the problem. There's an extremist element to modern society which appears to be taking over almost every area. For instance, there have always been men who wish to live as women and who do just that. They transform themselves. They look like women. I mean, they look like real women. That is, they don't dress like pantomime dames. They simply do their best to blend in and live their lives. But of late, their niche in this world of humans has been invaded by a lot of men who appear to have actual psychiatric conditions, mostly to do with a hatred of women, and who lampoon every aspect of femininity while at the same time insisting on bullying everyone else to participate in their psychoses. And now we have the area of childlessness, that way, as here, which is, in most cases, tragic enough for those afflicted, but are now finding their territory invaded by a bunch of fundamentalist evolutionary dead-enders who are, in the same way as the trans lobby has done, insisting that everyone else agrees that they are right, absolutely right, and everyone should follow their example. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So I'm just reading an article in The Spectator which is entitled "The Child-Free Influencers Waging War on Motherhood." I understand that some people may not want children. They may not be able to have children. It's a shame that some don't want children. If they want children and can't have any, that's a tragedy. For those who can have children and who have the means and opportunity but don't have them because they want to go on holidays to, Tenerife, well, that's their choice. I don't have an issue with that. However, I do have an issue with such people imposing their selfish behaviour on others. Now, why do I call it selfish? Because those people will expect their old age pensioners later on. And who do they expect will be paying the taxes to fund those pensions? If not the people they laugh at so heartily for their yearly 2 weeks in a soggy caravan in Cornwall instead of a month in the Maldives. And they're squatting on low chairs, applauding appropriately at an excruciatingly bad concert in a drafty school hall. Oh yes, I've been there. Instead of being able to afford front seats at a performance of Giselle by the Royal Ballet. Children are a trial and a burden. I know that as much as any parent. And sometimes children are a terrible heartbreak. But nature isn't there to be kind. It isn't only the next generation of pension supporters we should be thinking of, but also that having children is what we were programmed to do. If we don't do it, we are missing something in our development. We can make up for that artificially. Adoption, vocational or charity work, and that sort of thing. But somehow I don't think that the people I'm talking about here in this article are into that sort of thing. Instead, they appear to be making almost a religion of being an evolutionary dead end. At around 5 weeks into my pregnancy, my phone found out about it, and from that point on I was subjected to a barrage of social media content about how much children suck. The first was a video by a woman with the username Childfree Millennial, who filmed herself walking through the children's clothing aisle at a supermarket. She paused, turned to the camera and gagged. I was shocked. I was so shocked at the sheer nastiness and so hormonal that I cried, which is obviously the intention of Childfree Millennial. According to Childfree Millennial, the most loving thing we can do for our children is never to have them in this economy, in this society, in this climate. I wonder what would have happened to the human race if people had said that when 2/3 of the planet died because of plague or something. I'm sure that Childfree Millennial is pretty glad that somebody in the British Isles or wherever her ancestors came from decided to carry on anyway. This woman was not a one-off. In the weeks that followed, I was plagued by posts from influencers. I don't call them influencers. I call them stinkers. Goading and laughing at pregnant women and mothers. There were child-free therapists, child-free accountants, child-free authors, and endless podcasts and gatherings and conferences. I began to watch these child-free influencers like a spectator sport. Okay, what else? Maggie, this is a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something, was a pioneer in the cultivation of an online community for the child-free. We shouldn't call them child-free. We should call them barren by choice, because that's what they are. But child-free implies that children are a sort of terrible burden, like you might be disease-free or something. But children are important. They're important to the world. They're important to society. They are important. Well, as a matter of fact, I was walking through Stuttgart once, pushing one of my children in a pram, and I don't know what, I happened to bump into somebody, I think, and I said, "Oh, Entschuldigung, excuse me." And this guy looked at me, said, "You've no need to apologise. Das ist unsere Zukunft." That's our future. Children are our future. But, as this woman says, I think the child-free movement is gaining momentum, not because it's new, but because we're normalising it. Yeah, just like I was talking about the trans issue. But normalising childlessness doesn't have to mean picking on mothers. And again, this is very similar to the trans issue. There's nothing wrong with being trans. Where the problems arise is when the trans people start picking on women, making fun of them. To my mind, this has become the same sort of mental illness as making a religion of trans ideology, and it is a symptom of a serious problem with our society. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.